We're the same size. We share clothes. Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be filming a video about my collection of Sydney Grace eyeshadows. This one's a little bit different than the other collection videos that I've done because I feel like I don't have a super strong opinion formed already about Sydney Grace. I know that they're not as like shimmery and high impact as some other indie brands that I love, but I don't think they're bad. So we'll see. Because even with some of these shadows, I can tell, like, I haven't even dipped into them once. I haven't even swatched them on my finger, some of those shimmers. So it'll be a little bit of a learning experience for both of us. I'm going to start by putting a makeup look on, and then after that, we'll go through one by one, swatch them out of my arm, see how they look. So I popped on my Anastasia eye primer, and we're gonna get started. All of my brushes are so dirty today. I feel like they're always really dirty, but it's like on the top of my list for after filming to wash my brushes today. When I first bought from Sydney Grace, I wanted a bunch of kind of like neutral and cool tones. I think that's what Lauren May was buying from them, and I was like so excited to do the same, even though I'm not a big cool tone person. And then I placed another order this year where I also got more colorful ones. But I think I'm going to do, I don't know, do I do something fun? I don't really know what I'm going to do. I didn't think about this beforehand. I'm going to start, though, with something neutral. I'm going to start, this is Embrace. I feel like they have really pretty neutral tones, like slightly unusual. And then in my outer crease, I want to try to go in with Meadow. I really love this tone of green. I think it's so pretty. They did kind of make a brown a little bit when they came together, but what did I expect? I think I'm going to go under that with this kind of corresponding looking green. This is called Celebrate, and it's a shimmer. I'm going to use my finger like I tend to do when it comes to shimmers. Yeah, as you can see, nice color, nice amount of pigment, but it's just not that like super sparkly formula that, you know, you get from Cleona or Terra Moons or Divina, but it's still really nice. Yeah, it really pops. Kind of pops even more than I would have guessed. For my inner portion of my lid, I'm gonna use the shade Go For It. It's kind of like a taupey pink. Okay, I'm gonna pop on my base, and then when we come back, I'm gonna do something really colorful on my lower lash line. Okay, so for my lower lash line, I'm going to start with just using a matte. This is French Hens. It's like a light pink. And then I want to pop some shimmers on top of that. I think I want to start with Totally Worth It, which is a lavender purple. Next to that, I want to use this hot pink that I've never used before. It's called Forbidden Love. And then next to that, I want to use a slightly deeper purple that is called Deliverer. I actually did use this one recently. I made myself like a little palette, just you know, to collect some shades I wanted to use together. And I used this one, I popped it all over my lid, and I was pretty disappointed because it just wasn't, it didn't have that much shimmer. I guess we'll see how this one swatches out when I can, you know, get a little more of a surface area than just this. And that's my colorful lower lash line. Cute. I didn't even plan ahead for this, but I have two kind of like inner corner shades. One of them is like a more traditional white, and then I have this green mist, which is like an iridescent green, and I think that'll tie in really nicely to my outer V. So I'm going to use this for my inner corner. That's so bright. I like it. Okay, I'm gonna wipe off this fallout and just finish up my look, and we'll be back in just a minute. Here's the look. So I like how this came out. I popped a ColourPop Fresh Kiss in Sugar Snap on my lips. Not my favorite formula, but figured I'd mention it because whenever I upload these videos and I go to like add what lip I'm wearing in the description, I can never remember, and usually I'm like, it looks so good, I wish I knew which one I used. So that's for me. We're gonna get into the swatches. Perhaps I will organize them. Maybe I'll do mattes first and then shimmers after that. So most of the mattes that I have from them are what I would consider to be fairly neutral, but I think with my Sydney Grace purchases, I have kind of tailored it to what I like now. I used to like every crazy color for everything, and now I'm really realizing I like kind of like an interesting peachy transition color and outer corner color, and I like more colorful shimmers for the most part. I do deviate from that here and there, but because of that, this collection is more neutral. And also, as I said, with Lauren May Beauty buying those cool tones, I wanted to buy those cool tones too. So the first one I'm going to swatch is called Embrace, and this is what I used for my first initial transition shade. I think it looks a little bit mauvey. So this is Embrace. This next one is called Peanut Butter. It's just a very kind of like neutral, leaning, warm, mid-tone brown. That one's coming up very light. I do feel like sometimes when I swatch this, it comes up a little bit patchy. I've heard people really rave about Sydney Grace mattes, and I don't feel that strongly about them. I like the colors, and I also do kind of feel like if you're someone who doesn't want that super shimmery look like from the other brands that I mentioned, this is a really good option. I think it's a step above brands like ColourPop, but it's just not going to give you the like super foily, sparkly shimmers. You know, maybe some would say it's like more office appropriate. This next one is the one I used for my lower lash line. This is French Hens. Super pretty. You can see this one's more peachy, and then that first one, Embrace, was way more pink. Next, we are getting to Cool Town Central. This shade is called Cool Brown. It's really just like a grayish brown. Looks like it has a lot of pigment. My plan still is that after I finish going through brand by brand, I want to separate my collection by color so I can compare. And I have some ColourPop ones, maybe just one now, that's kind of like that. This is a shade I like so rarely use. I don't know why I was even thinking for a second I wanted cool tones, because that's just so not me. But it is a nice shade if you are into cool tones, and they do have more cool tone single shadow options than a lot of other brands that sell single shadows do. This next one is called Salomon, and it's like a reddish brown. This one feels really nice and soft. I think out of all the ones I've swatched so far, I like this, how this one feels the best. Oh, that's really nice. Ooh, I like that one. I wish I used that. This next one is a lot less red compared to the one before it, but it still does lean red. This is Choco, Rasp, Fudge. I wonder if that was just abbreviated for the label, or if that's just what it's called. This might have been my first time swatching this one also. I'm a maniac. Kids, don't buy single shadows that you're not even gonna use. Yeah, that's a nice tone, but that one kind of has my heart right now. I also have a deep brown in here. This shade is called Beyond, and I think it's a pretty neutral, leaning warm, I guess, deep brown. It doesn't feel as pigmented as like that Salomon does, but it's still nice. The final matte that I have is that green that I used out there. This is Meadow. I really like this shade. There's all of my mattes from Sydney Grace. It's funny with these like top ones not swatching as well, because swatches don't say everything. Sometimes even with swatches, they kind of trick you by being super high pigment, and then they're just harder to work with, or they have more fallout because of that. But I do kind of feel in my experience with their mattes that they can be a little bit patchy, which I think translates to there just not being enough pigment. I guess I'll just keep going down my arm with shimmers instead of starting anew. So the first one we're going to swatch is what I have in my inner corners. This is Green Mist, kind of like an iridescent white with a green flip. Super pretty. This one is very white based and very like high pigment. You can see how much it stands out against my skin tone there. The next one is more of a normal white. This is called Velvet, and it's also a very blingy inner corner shade. It feels a little bit more chalky when I swatch it. Yeah, they both are kind of like just like a nice shimmer. Next up I have three kind of light, neutral-ish shimmers that kind of blend together in my mind. I don't think I realized when I purchased these. I'm pretty sure these three were all from the same order. I ordered from them 2 times. One of them was maybe just a little over a year ago in fall of 2020, and then the most recent time was in June. I bought one of their palettes. Maybe I should have mentioned this earlier, but they have that Temptalia collab that they did earlier this year, and I bought one of their palettes, and I actually did film a couple looks with it, and then I kind of forgot about it, but I still have that footage and I could upload it or do more with it. But this is the palette that I picked out. I think it's the Reflection. Yeah, the Radiant Reflection Light is the one that I got, and when I purchased this is when I purchased a lot of the more colorful ones. That was all to say that in the original order, I purchased these 3 kind of mid-tone neutral shimmers that are pretty similar to each other, and I don't think I realized from the website how similar they would be. Oh, sorry, we have a cat break. Hi, baby. This is my baby. What do you think about Sydney Grace eyeshadows, baby? Okay, thanks for stopping by, baby. So the first one is called Troops, and this one's definitely the most like neutral colored of all of them. And then we have Go For It, which is what I used on my inner lid. It's kind of like that one, but a little bit more pink. And then after that is Siren, which is a little bit more pink than Go For It. So we have Troops, Go For It, and Siren. Maybe they don't look as different. No, they don't look as similar in the swatch as they did in the pans. I definitely like Siren the best though, and I like Troops the least. Getting into some more color. Next up we have the green that's on my outer V. This is Celebrate, the shimmer. Really pretty. I love the brightness of that. I really like how it looks out there. I'm going to swatch the next 2 at the same time also because they look pretty similar in the pan, but I think one has a flip and one doesn't. So this one is Keep It Fun. I feel like it's like a grungy seafoam and I really like it. And this one is Red Chameleon. I think this is, I don't think I ever swatched this one, but I think it's supposed to be one of those like blue-brown flips. So we have Keep It Fun and Red Chameleon. Yeah, I think it's probably a really good dupe for Urban Decay Lounge. It's not as flippy as some other indie brands that I have, but it's definitely more special than your average eyeshadow. Next is another one that I haven't used. This is called Orange Slush. Looks really pretty in the pan. Definitely feels a little bit more chalky than some of the other ones. Based off the swatch, I'm not crazy about the one. I feel like sometimes shimmers just feel like grainy and then they don't have much shine to it. And this just doesn't have much shine to it. Like even compared to this green, which isn't that much of a metallic, I think you can see that the green has more of like reflect than this one does. After that is Forbidden Love, which I used a little bit of on my lower lash line. This one feels like it has the same consistency as Orange Slush. I like the tone of it, I just don't really know what I'm supposed to do with it. I'm curious also, because I just feel like, did I only put that little amount on, or did that already fade from my lower lash line a little bit in the like 20 minutes since I put it on? Here's the look. I don't know. Next is the lavender that I originally put down on my lower lash line, and I know I like this one. It's called Totally Worth It. Really pretty. I think this one was from my initial Sydney Grace order. I'm going to start swatching on this side. Really pretty. Yeah, that one really catches the light. I like that one a lot. After that's the other purple from my lower lash line, which I don't see that much of, and that I was disappointed with when I used it recently. This is Deliverer. It's tough with these shadows where like I really like the tone of it, but I think that's why it's going to be so good when I compare by colors, because I'll be able to directly see I have the same color in a formula I like better. Yeah, pretty color, but it just doesn't have the shimmer that I want. I wish I had like a better name for this kind of shade that's like definitely not a matte, not a satin, nothing reflecty about it. It's just like a chunky something. Okay, we have 2 more left. This one is Chocolate Bar. When I bought it, I was inspired to do like a all shimmery dark brown eye look, and I bought it as if I don't have other dark shimmery browns in my collection. It's pretty. I think it is a nicer formula than this, but not as nice as this. And really kind of good even pigment also. And finally, we have You Only Better. I can't remember the inspiration for buying this. Not the usual kind of shade I think I buy. It's pretty though. Definitely like a lightly shimmered blackened plum. And these are all my Sydney Grace shadows. I'd say my favorite ones, I like Embrace a lot. Salomon, real nice. Meadow, I love the color of it, really pretty. I like this green mist a lot, but I do think there are like other iridescents from other indie companies that you might want to consider that might give like a more shifty look than this. This is kind of just like a green leaning white, which I like, but just something to keep in mind. And then these two I like a lot. This was Red Chameleon on the bottom, Keep It Fun above that. And then this lavender, totally worth it. Totally worth the purchase. So those are my recommendations from my collection. If you like this, if you want to stick around and see when I eventually compare these to other similar colors in my collection, please give me a like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And thank you so much for being here. Bye.